Hello everyone, welcome back again to Angela's Craft Room. Today I have a sympathy card for you using Lovely as a Tree stamp set, and the sentiment on this particular card comes from the Thoughts and Prayers stamp set, which I think now is retired, but I've still got it. I just love all the sentiments on it for the sympathy cards. But Lovely as a Tree, you can still get that one from Stampin' Up. And we're going to do a bit of sponging, as you can see. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a piece of shimmery white, which measures 5 1/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And I'm going to bring my Stamparatus over, and we're going to stamp the image first. Now I'm just lining that up. I think that's where I want, yeah, on the 6 centimeters on my Stamparatus, and I'm just going to make sure it's sitting straight on that line and put my extra strong magnet on. And just a bit of a tip with the Stamparatus, I find it really good if, I'll just bring that over, I put my stamp set case underneath the plate, and then when I bring it down, it's not bending on the hinges. It's giving you a lot more cushioning when I'm stamping on my sentiment. So that's just a little tip for you. So I'm just going to stamp it up with Always Artichoke. Okay. Oh, I meant to stamp that up with Memento Black, so it might come out two-toned. So we'll just have a look at that. Press down, and another tip with the Stamparatus, always put your pressure where your stamp is. For instance, my stamp is up here. Don't press down here, because you've got your gap around this side and the bottom side, there's a gap. And the reason that is there is if you've got a really big piece of paper, so like say my grid paper, I'll just lift that up. What you can do, you can have it like coming right out off there, which is excellent for scrapbookers. Absolutely excellent. Well, that worked out well. So I might just stamp a bit more of the Memento Black. So it's just got a really nice we're finished with that one. That's there. So we'll just take that magnet off, pop the Stamparatus over there, and now we're going to bring in my grid paper. Now I need to mask off this sentiment before we sponge. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just lining it up on a grid line, doesn't matter what grid line, and I'm just going to need to mask. Is that wide enough? That is just wide enough. Isn't that wonderful? So I'm just going to line that up with my grid lines. And this is just a piece of Eclipse masking tape. Actually, it's a little bit wide. So I'm going to use, I need to use a couple of pieces. Let's make that sure that's straight. So I just want it right on the edge of, so we don't sponge over the sentiment. Like that. It's a lot easier than using sticky notes. So we'll just pop our Always Artichoke away for a minute. Now the colours I'm going to be sponging in are Melon Mambo, Old Olive and Tempting Turquoise. And once again, I know Stampin' Up have brought out some new stamp pads in their new annual catalogue, and some of the colours have been discontinued to make room for some new colours coming in. So, but I've still got all of these colours, so that's what I'm using. But you just use whatever colour scheme you want. This is just an ideal of the technique I'm using. So to start with, I'm going to sponge the top using my sponge brayer with Tempting Turquoise. So we'll just sponge that up, and we're just going to go straight across the top. And it's just a matter of sponging to get the desired colour that you're looking for. Now notice when I'm sponging, I go all the way across, or if I come back this way, I go all the way across. I don't stop, because that way you're going to get blotchy marks if you do. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of Melon Mambo, and I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm going straight in to the Melon Mambo, and then I'm just going to go sort of across the middle. And then I'm going back into my Tempting Turquoise and just bringing that colour back over the Melon Mambo. So it gets quite a lovely effect. It's a very easy technique. And now I'm just going to grab the Old Olive, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that across the bottom. So you can see, using the sponge brayer and the masking, it's a very quick technique. So that's the Old Olive. I'm finished with that. Might just pop a little bit more Melon Mambo there. So I'll put that away. And I do believe Stampin' Up are bringing out a different type with their new colours of their stamp pads. The stamp pads are more of a sleek design as well. So I'm finished with the sponge brayer and my Tempting Turquoise. So then I'm just going to peel off my masking tape. And isn't that just awesome? I just love this technique. It's one of my favorites. It just really brings out that sentiment so nicely. So now I'm going to bring in the base colour and show you. So I've already cut a piece of Melamambo 11 inches long by 4 1/8 of an inch wide and scored at 5.5. And then inside I used a piece of Whisper White, which measures 5 1/4 by 3 7/8 of an inch, and I just stamped Lovely as a Tree, but I just did it off the white cardstock, as you can see a little bit, just off of it a little bit, just so it sits to the right side there. So that's the inside of the card done. And then I took a piece of Tempting Turquoise, and it measures 5 1/4 by 3 7/8, and we're going to glue that straight onto the Melamambo. So it's not a hard card by any means, but it's a very effective one. So we're just going to rub around the corners, make sure no glue's going to ooze out anywhere. So that's your Tempting Turquoise. Then I have a piece of Old Olive, which measures 5 1/4 by 2.5. Okay, that's your Old Olive. And then the piece of Shimmery White, which we sponged and stamped our sentiment, and it measures 5 1/4 by 2 1/4, and we're going to just adhere that onto this piece here. So just pop that on there. Now I just need to line that up on a grid line. So hopefully I can glue this piece down straight. So that's looking pretty nice, and it's got that lovely old olive border just showing at the top of the bottom. And then I'm going to just glue it onto here. Now you could emboss this mat here if you wanted to, but I have tried it and I just think it just doesn't look right. I wasn't happy with it, so I've decided to leave it plain. So we just need to glue that. Hang on, I've missed a step. No, how silly of me. You could just glue that on if you wanted to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the Stamparatus back in. I thought, gee, I'm getting through this card quick, and then yes, I haven't stamped the trees. So the good thing about the Stamparatus, as I said, you can push that right over off, you know, where you want your, because specifically in this instance, I'm only stamping part of the stamp. So it enables me to, let's put the magnet back, it enables me to have this exactly where I want it. I'm not sure if any of the other stamp positioning tools do allow that. Let's put my that sits. Okay, so then I will grab the Always Artichoke now and just stamp up one end of my stamp, and it really helps having that stamp case underneath the plate. And then just press quite firmly just where the stamp is. So I'll stamp it up a second time, but really I could have just left that as stamping once. And you can see how effective that is with the sponging. With the sponging as well. So I'm just going to wipe that off with my chamois and just dry that so we don't get any water on this piece. And then we're just going to, what we're going to do is stamp the other side. So just dry off my stamp, because I've just cleaned that bit of ink off of there. What I need to do then is I need to position it. So I'll pop my, these magnets are awesome. They're just so strong. They do, the Stamper Artist does come with two, but up to now I've only used one at one time. Okay, so all I'm doing is just stamping up one thing I didn't do, getting very forgetful today, one thing I didn't do was just, should really put a piece of masking tape just over that. I'll just snip that off because I would normally do this step before I adhered it to the piece of old olive, and I was just getting a bit beyond myself, getting a bit too fast, and I forgot to stamp the trees. But yeah, I just like to mask it because I don't want. So then that's going to go down there like that. So it would have been all right anyway, but it's best to mask it just to be sure, because it'd be worse to get it stamped where you don't want it stamped. So I might just do that once more. So I find it easy to just slide the magnet off. And we can just pop that over to the side. And then we'll just take that little piece off like that. Now you could leave it like that, but there is one little stamp. Sometimes people just forget that it's there in the Lovely as a Tree, and it's this little fellow here. I really like him. So I'm just going to bring back that. Just wasn't sure whether I wanted to put it on there, but I will. So doesn't matter if it's like on an angle. And I'll just stamp him up lightly and press down. I just think it adds that little bit, and I might even, I'll just wipe it off first. Just wonder if it will fit at the bottom as well. Like about there. And I just grab my stamp box there and just pop it under. Just stamp it up. And there's that one. Slide that off, and we'll just pop that to the side along with us. So then you've got that piece. So I think it's a really lovely technique, and it's quite effective, but it's very easy to do. So we're just going to glue that directly onto our card. If you wanted it to pop more off the card, you could put some crafting foam underneath this whole piece if you wanted to. So we're just going to glue that on there now, and then that's that card done. So thank you for subscribing to my channel. I really do love hearing from my subscribers, and I'm very humbled that you do like my techniques and cards. I really enjoy sharing them with you. So I just want to get that there where I want it. Make sure it's straight, and there we go. That's our card for today. So I hope you enjoyed that one. This was my original one. Okay, so this one was my original one that I did to show you at the beginning of the tutorial, and this one is the one we did today. I like both of them, but I tend to like this one a bit more. I think the Tempting Turquoise cardstock really lifts the card. So thank you for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!